Okay, it's time for APA citation. Now, I know that you've been wanting to get into this and that some of you felt pretty uncomfortable writing a paper and not knowing how to cite it right away. And I appreciate you sticking with me and sticking with this process and working on writing and revising before editing. Now that I've said that, you might say, oh, we're gonna do APA this week. No, you're still not gonna do APA in your paper this week. And here's why. This week, we're gonna learn APA citation and reference style. This week, you're going to get feedback from your conversation partner within the cohort. Next week, you're going to get feedback on your paper from me. After your meeting with me next week, that's when you're going to do your final round of work on the paper. You're going to finish up your revising, and that's when you're going to do things like editing. Again, if we start to pay attention to the APA now, it's very likely that we're going to be cleaning up the language that might not end up in our final paper. So if you want to move ahead and make sure that you've cited a quote properly, I guess you can, but I just want you to know that I think you're really running the risk of spending your time and energy editing when it would be better used this week, continuing to revise and build. So I'm going to advise you to wait until, let me check my calendar, hold on. I'm going to advise you to wait until the week of October 24th and to do your revising and your APA then. So having said that, here are the big ideas for APA citations, okay? In MLA papers and in other styles, you'll have a bibliography that'll say sort of what you read and what inspired you. And some of the things that are on that page might be in your paper and some things might not be. APA does not care what inspired you, okay? APA only has a reference page. And the rule is whatever you cite in text has to be on the reference page, and whatever's on the reference page, you have to actually cite in text. There needs to be a one-to-one match between in-text citations and references. The second thing you need to know is that the purpose of a reference page is to make it so that the reader can read what you wrote in the paper and say, oh, I'm interested in that, or I might like to read that article, or I don't agree with their interpretation of that article. I think they talked about it wrong. They can then take the in-text citation, find the reference on the reference page, and find the source and read it themselves. So because of that, you're kind of providing a key to where to find this information. Let's say you wanted to cite me in this video right now. I guess you could. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but this video is only available to people who are in this course. And so you would actually cite this as personal communication because there's no way from anybody from the outside to go and find this information themselves. So if it's one-time information that's not publicly available, you're going to cite it as personal communication. If it's anything that's available on the internet or in print or in any other format where folks can get a hold of it, then you're going to want it to be cited on the reference page. Okay. The final thing I want you to know about APA citation style is this. It doesn't really make sense. Okay. I sort of joke, which is not really a joke, that it seems like the people who write the APA style, they get together every couple of years and they think, now what could we do that would really just mess with people who are trying to write papers? So to give you an example, it was in APA 4. So when APA 4 came out, they said, now listen, we are definitely only going to have one space after a period. That's what we should do. And then a few years later, APA 5 came out and they were like, you know what's really fun? We're going to put 2 spaces after a period now in between sentences. That would be super fun. Well, APA 6 came out and they were like, just kidding. Actually, we're going back to 1 space after the period. Why? I have no earthly idea. Again, sometimes I think a group of people just got together. Maybe they had some drinks. Maybe they thought, what can we do to have fun? So if you're looking for something that's going to be entirely internally consistent, do not spend your time looking at the APA guide. Look for internal logic somewhere else. This is the set of rules that we use in the social sciences to refer to things. It does not mean that it is the best style. It's just the style that we use. Now, having said that, I do want to say that I actually really love APA 7, and I hope that you do too. It's the first APA that really addresses bias-free language. It's the first APA that gives us guidance around gender non-binary terminology. It's the first APA guide that talks about citing oral Indigenous traditions. Within the actual reference page, they now have citation styles for Instagram posts and Twitter and blogs and things that might seem silly. But to go back to our information literacy frame, by finding a way to cite Instagram posts in academic papers. APA is democratizing what counts as scholarly knowledge, what counts as scholarly work. And by default, it's opening up our understanding of who has authority and who can be an expert on a topic. And so I am in love with this particular part of APA 7. The other thing that I love, I don't know, if you haven't purchased your guide yet, man, I would buy the spiral bound one that has these little tabbies. Ooh, it's life-changing. And the best part, oh, the index is so good. I know, go ahead and laugh. The APA 6 index was garbage, but they have got their indexing together, people, and that is a point of excitement. Okay, my geek is showing. So this week for APA, your job is to become familiar with where you will find the answers when you need them. Okay, you will not be able to memorize all of this, and you should not try to memorize all of this. That is not a healthy use of your intellect. But what you do want to do is be able to say, oh, I'm reading a journal article. I know that how to cite a journal article is found on this page of the APA guide. I know that the journal article I'm going to cite as a part of a work of a whole, and I know how APA talks about parts of works of whole. So this is not about memorizing. It's about being comfortable with referring back to and being proficient in referring back to the information when it's needed. And you are going to practice applying it this week. So your collaborative assignment is going to be to work with your They Say, I Say group to actually work on references and in-text citations based on the essays at the end of the They Say, I Say book that are part of your topic area. So there's a lot of references on this page, a lot of resources on this page. It's up to you to use the ones that are most helpful to you. It's up to you to stop when you say, okay, I think I've got it for now. It's up to you to come back to them, to bookmark them, to say, I thought I had it, but it turns out I didn't have it. And let me go back and revisit some of these learning opportunities. This is really up to you to become familiar and comfortable with what it means to write and cite a paper in the APA 7th edition. Again, I love APA 7. It's not internally consistent, and I hope you have a whole lot of fun with this week's work.